A nasty shock that was. We had 20, 30 guests, I think, coming for a meal. Some of them had assembled, and he just went round down the road to see if fetch his friend up or something, and it happened like that.
How old was he?
Coming 17. He'd got his heart into the job. He'd have been a good fisherman. He'd have been a lot better fishing than Tony if he'd been able to stick at it long. Tony's never been what I would say 100%. He's never gone wholeheartedly into it. He's done the job. He's done the job as well as it could be, but he's never had his heart behind fishing like John has.
It was a cruel way to escape the job he'd always hated, but at least Tony's got his music to fall back on.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you all raise your glasses and drink a toast to Diane and Steve?
Tony's daughter is marrying outside the world of fishing and the wash. Steve's a furniture salesman. But at least there's another generation already on the way.
Behind to help harvest the sea. And yes, there's nothing like working in the fresh air in the heart of the forest, all to help make your summer barbecue possible. We'll be meeting these chaps later. And when you decide to make your home a better place to live in, do you ever spare a thought for the bats? Well, apparently you should. A colony of pipistrelles in your attic will cause you no trouble and help keep the flies down. Now, I suppose it's logical that men who spend their lives working the land should want to spend their spare time away from it. And a group of Lincolnshire farmers seem to have found the perfect solution. I was going to say, leave their green wellies behind for the day, but on this trip, they need them as much as ever. Whichever way you look at it, it's going to be quite a picnic. A bunch of farmers who've forsaken their fields for a day at the seaside, and a bellyful of brown shrimps and succulent cockles, those delicacies of the seafront shellfish stall. But first, you have to catch them. These mouth-watering thoughts are very much in mind as we sailed downriver from the Welland, not far from Boston, to the waters of the Wash. These are the bare green marshes of the Lincolnshire coast. But what, you might ask, gave these agricultural landlubbers the idea of spending their days shrimping and cockling?
In our local pub, as a trip from the brewery came back and dropped the landlady off at the Staunton Arms a load of shrimps. Thought how beautiful they were and got talking about them. And about a year later, a lorry driver came in the yard and said, "Where did you get them from?" And he said, "Well, I know a man that takes you out." So we gave Nev a ring here, and he took me out and brings 12 of us down. We come about 3 or 4 times a year now, in the springtime.
The first job, before it gets too choppy out in the wash, is to get the trawl nets ready for their outriggers. Skipper of the good ship Boy Kevin is Norris Lynham, who comes from a 200-year line of fishermen. Norris and a couple of his friends built this trawler themselves.
Well, we're going down to a sandbank called, we'll finish up at a sandbank called the Roger's Sand, which is more or less out in the middle of the wash, but a little bit nearer to the Lincolnshire side. And we go there because it's a nice clean bit of sand, and it's very steep, which means you can get right under the side at low water, drop the anchor, and save you rowing and going in when you want to put anybody ashore. You can get right in, which means you've only got to go through yards to get people ashore if it is a little bit windy and things, you know.
Out at sea, out come the hats. Not quite kiss me quick, but almost. They're looking for a good harvest today, but there is more to this outing than just that. Alan Bishop is another farmer. He keeps his eyes as sharp as his appetite.
Is the wildlife on the wash something we don't get at home? We've just seen a seal down there. There's all sorts of birds. There's a little tern following us around, followed us for the last half hour. Where there's oyster catchers all the way along the banks that we just don't normally see at home. And so, yes, there's always something new. And you've only got to keep your eyes open. I don't know all the birds by any means, but I've got a book in my pocket. Keep looking them up.
So you're a naturalist as well as a farmer?
I wouldn't say a naturalist. I'm just interested in well, country life, whether it's on the or out here on the wash.
When the nets are down, there's a slow trawl for an hour. Tension mounts. An hour's a long time when you're waiting for a netful, or perhaps nothing.
But what's really happening now, you see, that we've lowered them down on the bottom, and your metal beams are holding the net open. You've got like shoes, or what we call trawl heads, which are keeping the beams up about 2 foot off the bottom of the sea. You're pulling them along and you're rolling behind them, and it's just like you'll be fishing for ordinary, cod or anything like that. It's the same sort of method.
But if you're in the combine harvester business, this must be one of your busiest times of the year, isn't it?
Oh, we're very busy back at home. I could hardly have done with the time off. But when the call went out, there's a fishing trip on, I'm here. Love it.
What do you get out of it?
It's a way of getting rid of the telephone for the day. And I love shrimps, and I love cockles. And I like the lads that come along with us, have a good time. What more can we say?
8 miles offshore, we've been trawling depths of 30 to 50 feet. Now a nod from the skipper, and it's time to raise the nets. It's that delicious moment every fisherman knows when the catch is spilled out onto the deck. Will it be a success or a disappointment? Well, they've had better, but it's not too bad. It's a seething mass of marine life. The squid, the little soles, the starfish, the jellyfish and the crab. They're all tossed back to live another day. Although it was pretty clear the crab had decided not to hang about anyway and scuttled instinctively to the little bilges and over the side. For an hour, we'd seen only the odd bird. Suddenly, the sky was black, with little terns, herring gulls, lesser black-backed gulls. A lucky dip too good to miss. Within minutes of being on deck, the dull greyish-brown shrimps are on their way to the pot. Seeing them in this raw state makes you wonder who was the hero who first had the guts to eat one. There's no messing about here. 2 minutes in the boiling water, and the shrimps turn pinky, brown and shiny. In no time they're on the day's menu, and they couldn't be fresher. The technique is to hold them gently by the head and by the tail and nip out the middle with the front teeth, then throw away the rest. You eat them, skin and all. Delicious.
Not as much as we had last time. Why? What? About a quarter? About a quarter, yes.
About a quarter what we normally catch.
A quarter
Really?
to a half.
Yeah. It's down a little bit, but it's just the taste of it. It's still beautiful.
They taste as good.
I think they're a little sweeter this time. Do want it.
What could you have fresher? We were talking a matter of what?
It could be the wine.
20 minutes out the sea, cooked and reheated them.
Once you've taken them like this, you can't eat them any other way. You really can't. But they freeze very well. Fresh, you know, once they're fresh, they freeze and they taste just as good in 2 or 3 weeks' time.
With so much euphoria, the day could happily end here, but none of it. The tide's down and the hundreds of acres of sandbanks are exposed. It's time for the cockleshell heroes to go over the side for the assault on the cockle beds. Hand raking is old-fashioned in the cockle industry these days. Modern cockle boats dredge and suck them up by their millions. And some of the old fishermen like Norris Lynham think it's killing the business. For the small man, though, and the cockle digger out for the day, it's effective enough. And the baskets soon begin to fill up with the rinsed cockles. It's a bit like panning for gold, but with a bit more certainty of success.
Most people don't get them as big as this. Worth trying, have one. So you don't need a knife or anything.
You're right. I had been duped, conned into eating a raw cockle when they should really be boiled. Once the haul of cockles is back aboard the trawler, there's no hanging about. The brine is boiling, in goes the net of cockles, and then the water's brought back to the boil, 2 minutes more on the boil, and they're done. It's quite a production line. From July to the end of September, the cockles are at their very best. They're plump and succulent. The bigger ones will be 5 years old. Well, you've got to be awfully fond of cockles to eat this lot, but there's a good deal of dipping in and nibbling before the big share out. All right, they all take a pint or two of cockles home for the freezer and for friends, but that's not what they come for, really. As farmers and farmers' friends, they're close enough to nature, but that's their work. This is something different. You don't see many seals and their pups inland, flapping for the sea in their dozens as the boat disturbs them on the sandbanks. How many of us can get this close to a colony of seals on the North Sea and have a good day out with the wind in your face and some seafood to take home? But what the farmers remember is the fun and the companionship and the problems of the Common Agricultural Policy and will it rain for the harvest are left behind, at least for a day.
I can't see how you could avoid feeling better or being better off having come out on a day like this. Would you rather do this than go into an office, for instance? Where do people have their days off? This, for me, is ideal.
Second test match.
I'm just going down to the shops.
Okay.